Today we're going to take a look at a brand new product that I actually intend to sort of integrate into my YouTube channel here. We are looking at the Hohem MIC-01. This is a wireless lavalier lapel microphone. Now, this thing does have a USB-C or Lightning, depending on which way you go. I will drop a link to both in the description down below, so you can use it on Android devices or the new iPhones, or of course the older Lightning cable compatible iPhones. And this thing is pretty simple. You plug this into your phone, and then one of these two, it's dual channel, it's wireless. You attach it to your jacket, you attach it to your shirt in some way, and it is a wireless microphone. As you can see, it's not particularly cheap, although some of them are a lot more expensive than this. $129. There is a $15 coupon at time of recording, so that's definitely not too bad. Honestly, it looks like there's quite a bit to like here. So with all that being said, let's grab this thing. Luckily, Hohem was kind enough to send it out for me to review, so we're going to switch to the overhead camera. We're going to pop this thing open and see what it's like. All right, the Hohem MIC-01 wireless lavalier microphone. Let's see, anything else back here on the back? Looks like mostly just a lot of specifications. Plug and play, DSP noise cancellation, that's awesome. Shutter control, dual channel recording, charging case, recording storage. There's actually local storage on this thing, which is kind of surprising. And there's a spot for an external mic as well. Popping the thing open, looks like we have some instructions in here, which perhaps we will go over. This is the device itself, and it comes in this charging carrying case that I really like. It's magnetic, everything snaps into place there as well. Really dig that. USB-C for charging. Mine is the C variant. Over here, we have these little guys that are meant to kind of block wind and maybe like pops from you talking, things like that. Really, really nice. And then a USB-A to C filter. I want to kind of see if these things will fit on this while it's inside of the charging case, because that would be really cool. Yeah, not quite. So you're gonna have to put that on each time. Would have been cool if somehow that would fit, but it doesn't. So we'll leave that off. Let's take a look at the dongle first. Like I said, mine is the USB-C variant. Pretty straightforward. You plug it in and you have some controls here for your two channels. You do have a 3.5 millimeter headphone jack, which you can use to be monitoring the audio live as it's happening. That's really cool. And you can also plug in your other side here to charge your device at the same time. So this is not just going to occupy your charging port. Really cool. On the microphones themselves, really solid looking build quality. Obviously, microphone there, LED light that's going to tell you a couple different things. Like right now, it's trying to connect to the dongle. It'll also show you your noise cancellation levels as well. We have some buttons here on the side, power and shutter button, and then this will change through those noise cancellation modes. You can clip it onto your shirt, but you also have this pretty darn strong magnet. There you go. It just snapped right out of my hand, that you can slip inside your shirt or whatever it might be, and then this will connect just like that and kind of hold itself in place like that. So let's see how simple this thing is to actually get up and running. It should be very, very simple. We're just going to grab the dongle. We're going to plug it into my OnePlus Open. We are going to we'll just grab both of them for the sake of this video, and it looks like they have connected. You can see blue and blue. Now, if I change the noise cancellation mode, you can see that it is syncing with the LED down below. That is a really nice feature. So one more function here, it says reverb. So you're going to double press the noise cancellation button, and now it is on purple and flashing. So we'll have to test and see exactly what they mean by reverb. I guess it's just going to add some reverb to your voice. That's interesting. Power button does double as the shutter button. Double tapping the power button will actually mute the microphone. So let's try that. It should turn white. Yep, there we go. It is white, which means it is muted. That's a pretty interesting feature. And you can also control the gain on these microphones independently as well. It is dual channel. They will both be functioning. You can double click the volume down button on the dongle, and that will allow you to then use plus and minus to start changing that gain. So if I double click this, that is red, so now I'm changing the gain on that one. If I double click it again, that has gone away. Let's double click plus, and now I'm changing the gain on that one. Double click it again, and it is back to being blue. I mentioned this earlier, but I didn't show it to you. You can actually plug a different microphone into the top of this, which is kind of cool. So something else I forgot to mention is that each one of these microphones will actually have an SD card slot there that you can drop in. And I guess when you're recording with it, it's going to be locally saving that stuff to the microphone, which could be really useful as a backup in case, like, maybe you're filming a podcast or something like that, and you don't want to, potentially risk using that audio data. So now what I've done is I've actually plugged the dongle into the S23 Ultra that I'm filming with. We have turned off the second channel, and this microphone is what you are now hearing me through. And this is kind of how I want to use this thing. Rather than using the microphone built into the S23 Ultra, which is pretty good, I want to be able to use something like this. I'm actually going to pin this to my lapel. And now imagine that I'm doing, one of my regular videos. I'm showing you something on the phone. How well would this work? I'm hoping that it is an improvement from the onboard mic in terms of like room echo and things like that. So in that scenario where my phone is literally like right here, the onboard mic on the S23 Ultra to my ear is probably doing a little bit of a better job. But when you start doing other things where you're not right there up against the phone, I think that's where this thing is going to be really, really good. If you're standing, 6 feet away from your phone on a tripod or something like that, it's going to really start to make a really big difference. So let's take a look at one of those sorts of scenarios. So I'm filming on my OnePlus Open, and I am about 2 arm lengths away from my phone. This is what the onboard microphone sounds like. Now we're going to hop on the Hohem microphone and see what that sounds like. All right, so we're back at about the same distance as I was before, now with the microphone here attached to my jacket. How does this sound? How big of a difference are you noticing? Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna walk way down there to the end of the yard to sort of test the range of this thing. So watch this. Can you still hear me? Ideally, hopefully, you're hearing me really, really clearly still. Well, let's go further. Here I am all the way at the other end of the yard. You can see me through the trees back here again. Hopefully I am just as audible now as I was all the way back there. So that's a pretty clear and obvious win. That's just something that you're never going to be able to do on a microphone that's just built into your phone. That distance was no problem at all. Handled it just fine. And I think sounded pretty good. You weren't hearing nearly as much of the sort of wind and just background noise as you could have been or would have been with the phone. And I didn't even have the wind filter installed on it. So that's definitely pretty solid. Of course, when you're outside, there's not any kind of echo to be canceled by having a mic be up closer and by having noise cancellation. So what we're going to do in this room now, with no noise treatments on the wall around me, we're going to connect the Hohem MIC-01 and see what that sounds like in here. All right, so now I have the Hohem MIC-01 attached, and I think it should sound a little bit better. But again, we can jump to that noise cancellation level 1. Does that help cut out some of the echo in the room? Possibly. What about level 2? Hopefully that does step it up a little bit further. But now I'm going to turn on a very loud air conditioner and see if it can cut through that stuff as well. So once again, blue means noise cancellation is turned off. If I go to green, how much of that fan has gone away? How much more audible am I? Now if I go to yellow, hopefully that does take it up another notch. Let's find out. And I would consider that to be another pretty significant win. I mean, you heard how much echo there was from being in this room, not near my treated walls and not using like a really solid microphone. It sounded really, really bad. With that microphone, I think that was passable. That's something that I could potentially, if I, were to maybe adjust the positioning a little bit or something, I could absolutely use that film on my phone, and that's something I could post in a pinch if I needed to. Pretty solid stuff so far. So one cool feature is that since there are 2 of them, both working at the same time, if you were maybe doing like an interview, I could see these things being extremely useful. Like we used to have a podcast back in the day, and this could be a potential way to do like a video podcast or something. Set up your camera, you got both microphones, and you can both talk. What do you think this would have worked well for that?
I think it would have been amazingly useful.
I agree. I mean, audio quality seems pretty good. It's plug and play. Like literally, how long did it take when I asked you to come in here before we were filming?
Like maybe a few seconds.
Plug it in, you're filming, you're done. I would be remiss if I didn't test the wind filter here. I've got a fan blowing directly into it. How much is that helping? Let's pop it off as well so that you can hear the before and after. I'm assuming that probably helped quite a bit. All right, so one thing we haven't tested was that reverb feature. So we're gonna double click that little button on the side. We have turned to purple, which should mean that reverb is on. I don't really know what to expect. I'm gonna put this in the timeline and see what it sounds like, and I guess tell you what I think. Well, that sure was reverb. I guess I shouldn't be surprised. It does exactly what it said it would do on the tin. That was a lot of reverb. Not really sure what I would use that for, except for something that made me think of maybe music. So let's see how this thing handles recording an acoustic guitar, and we'll double click for reverb in the middle and we'll see what that does as well. We're going to put the microphone right there in front. And now for reverb mode. Okay, so I don't think I would be recommending this for musicians. There's definitely a lot of like that kind of processing sound. It kind of almost seems like it's doing noise cancellation, even when noise cancellation is turned off. And that is not something that you ever want when you are recording music. It just ends up not sounding great. So we're going to have to fail it on that one. But I do think overall, there is some pretty decent value here. I'll throw this page back up again. We'll switch this over to the USB-C version just so that you can see that as well. Still $129. What I would say is if you do a lot of vlogging and you're consistently out in an area, really anywhere actually, where you are more than a couple of feet away from your phone. If you're like, selfie shooting like that, probably not something that's going to make a lot of sense to you. But if you're, several feet away, 3-4 feet away from your phone, and you're doing a vlog like that, you've set up a tripod, maybe you're someone that uses a folding phone and you've got it in your little, laptop mode or whatever, and you're filming yourself like that. I think this thing makes a ton of sense because the audio quality improvement in those scenarios is drastic. What I was hoping I was going to use it for B-roll pointed down like that, probably not so much. It's going to be more stuff where I'm away from my microphone, I'm away from the studio, I'm out in the field, or I'm in a different room of the house for whatever reason. Then it's going to be absolutely invaluable. My wife likes to roller skate and do things like that. Sometimes she films things and posts them on her own YouTube channel. I think it would be brilliant for what she is doing as well. So it's definitely going to get some use around the Craig household either way. So guys, that's what I think about this thing. Again, I'm going to drop a couple of affiliate links in the description down below. If you click on them and then you purchase something, that will help support the channel. Big shout out to Hohem for sending this microphone set over for me to test out for you. Guys, as usual, no money changed hands for the production of this video, and they will be seeing the review at the exact same time as everyone else. Guys, thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one, and until next time, stay nerdy, my friends.